The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
The Andy, Luke, and Reef football machine.
Autobots, transform! I like this kind of party!
Straight cash, homie.
Starts now.
Chicken is the best place to get chicken strips.
I am recording right now.
Good.
I hope you were getting all of this.
I mean, I didn't get all of it. But
Put it on the Roses and Rose feed.
Oh, God.
Well, welcome back to Thunderdome for another Zone Coverage Football Machine, Zone Coverage Podcast Network. I didn't watch Bachelorette. I'm your not-so-humble host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. I have equity. More equity than John Gruden tried to give up, trying to get for B-Rob and Terrence Newman in a trade before their cut. It's unfortunate. I still think B-Rob will play for the Raiders. I don't think he's done.
Who needs Khalil Mack?
Yeah, who needs Khalil Mack? We got B-Rob and T.J. Clemmings. Come on down. Our star pass rusher, Bruce Irvin, is going to pick up the slack. Joining me, as always, Arif Hassan, NFL. How's it going?
Hey.
Notice that you didn't play any backyard football today. What's up with that?
I didn't even know it was happening. I showed up to the podcast on time as requested. There was no one in here.
That's unfortunate.
I showed up 4 minutes early, actually.
That's a first.
Yeah, it's teaching me never to do it again.
Could have used you.
Yeah, I mean,
Could you?
Yeah, we could have.
Yeah, maybe
we need
you
a bracket.
really
Maybe you should text me.
You
or
just
Tom,
undercut
you've got
my
a
routes.
problem with this, by the
Listen,
way.
do you see offside stuff in here? What do you think it's doing in here?
I don't know what you're telling me, man. You're like,
This stuff is all
hey,
over.
Arif, come to the podcast. Also, it's not where it always is, and also I'm not going to tell you that until you show up to where it is halfway across town.
Look, all his stuff is here. He's been recording here for like a
You
month.
just got lawyered, dude.
What do you mean? Does it say his fucking name on it?
No. What do you think that extra stuff is?
Lawyered.
Duh.
It's mic stuff you would expect in a podcast studio.
I'll wear this one. I'm sorry, Arif.
Jesus, man.
I'm sorry, Arif.
And you're like, oh man, Arif, you should have come to the football game we didn't tell you about today.
I mean, what did you think
you did
we
that
were
wrong,
doing out there
dude.
for at least 15 minutes?
I didn't know you were out there for
You
at
did
least
it
15
wrong,
minutes.
dude. You're supposed to read minds.
Yeah, man. Read it.
I hate all of you forever, and I
Instead of playing right end, he was playing left out. Sad. It's okay. Luke Inman, Luke _Spinman.
Hey, how you doing, guys? This guy's undercutting all my routes. I'm a little salty about
Yeah,
it.
oh,
but
yeah.
my deep
Oh, you're
ball,
salty.
can we talk
You
about
can
my
nearly-
deep ball?
oh man, it must suck to be salty.
Yinka literally nearly cracked his head open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should have opened with that. Yeah. Dude.
Oh, definitely.
How you doing, man?
Almost.
He's wearing his...
Teddy.
If there was anything that we got out of this, it's like in days were meant to be DBs. Right?
Yes.
How does it feel to be the best DB in your family?
Absolutely.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Hope Kool-Aid's
Football
listening to
Alliance
this.
are going to start.
Alliance
calling?
is starting pretty soon. I actually DM'd with them, and they told me to send them my stuff. So now I have... Did we get that on tape?
Wait,
We should have.
Wait,
That was a Reef's job.
you DM'd with a football league or DM'd with your brother? Because it'd be weird if it was your brother.
With the Football League.
Okay.
The Alliance. Because they're supposed to be having a draft pretty soon, and I wanted to know when that was.
Where are the teams?
There's a team in Texas. I think it's
no
San
city,
Antonio.
just in Texas.
Yeah,
all
I just remember
Texas.
there's
Yeah.
I think one in
They're
San
not
Diego.
even known for football, though.
One in San Diego. One in the Salt Lake City. I think is another one.
Missouri.
They have a Canadian, the one that's in Canada, Ontario.
Why are these teams so far apart?
They're like a lot of them in the down south. There's a lot in like
half of their monthly nut is going to be airfare.
Airfare to go
On
play
Southwest.
one 90-minute game.
We're heading
Probably
To
probably Terry.
we're heading to Canada. Where? I don't know. From Texas.
Half these guys don't have their
From
passports.
Texas.
No, it's like it's what I've been advocating. If you're going to do a startup football league, have it be in one centralized location. Have it be in Orlando. Have it be in Orlando Worldwide Sports or wherever they have IMG Academy. Just have all the teams there. No one cares. No one's going to the game. No one's going to the game in Frisco, Texas to watch the Alliance of Football Federation.
I think all south.
But
Do
yeah.
you still need a passport to visit Canada? Is that still because when you didn't need it, that was great.
Yeah.
I
think you do now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Atlanta, Birmingham, Memphis, Orlando, Phoenix, Salt Lake, San Antonio, San Diego.
Well, Atlanta
Those
would
are
be
the
fine
8 teams.
because it's the best professional sports town in America.
Yeah.
It's great. Just ask the Hawks. They got Tinder.
I bet they're out in the suburbs too, like some random suburb.
Yeah, where there's no interstate, just like where the Braves' new stadium is.
Yeah, Cobb County.
Yeah.
Well, are they keeping up the other stadium, or did they already tear that down?
I think so. It's where the Olympics were.
Okay, so then they just use that then, right?
I suppose. I've heard that.
Yeah, they tore it down and blamed it on Richard Jewell. So Yink is here. Tom's working the board. It's going to be good stuff. We got actual football coming up on Sunday. Minnesota Vikings taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Minus Jet. Come on, man.
Come on,
Coming home.
Like I know that, it helps the Vikings he's not on the field, but just sucks.
It sucks.
They'll just pass more.
I'll just...
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G?
Jimmy G or Double G?
No, he's going to pass to Alfred Morris, who I think has 3 career receptions.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Over under there.
I mean, they're going to pass to Breida. I think it's pronounced Breida.
Yeah.
Matt Breida.
I think the fullback's in play for more
Yeah,
catches
Kyle
than anybody
Juszczyk.
else.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. The touches are just going to get distributed there. We're going to go through McKinnon.
Right.
I
Yep.
think you're going to see a lot more to Juszczyk. You're going to see some to Breida. Obviously, you're going to see a bunch of runs to Morris.
Yeah, I want to know what the odds are of Juszczyk leading the team in receptions, but we'll get to that when we talk Vikings-Niners a little bit later on. Hour 1. Follow Zone Coverage on Twitter at Zone Coverage MN. Subscribe, rate, review on the iTunes as well. Tom, what's shaking and baking? ZoneCoverage.com.
Well, a lot of Vikings content, unsurprisingly, given that there's a lot of hype around the season. Sam's done a good job with that. Brandon Warren looking at the Byron Buxton decision, controversial. They're basically trying to they will extend his free agency an extra year. He's not happy about it. And then we have some basketball guides that are accompanied by podcasts that Dane Moore's doing. Dane Moore and Charlie Johnson, his understudy.
The former Vikings left tackle.
Yeah, he
Slash left guard.
big Wolves NBA guy. No, Charlie Johnson, fresh out of St. Olaf, I think, younger guy.
Oh, is he the guy scared on the Slack?
I think so. Yeah, Reef just lets loose on me on Slack. I thought it was just you and I talking.
Wait, you thought I just DM'd you directly?
Yeah, I figured that out a little late. I figured that out a little late. Yeah,
That's funny.
in case people missed this, I told Arif to go the wrong way. I shouldn't say that. I didn't tell Arif that we changed location.
You didn't tell me anything.
And I apologize, Arif.
I'm not going to accept the apology until Cy pays me.
That's
That's
could be a
not
while.
gonna
Ty has owed me money for a while.
That is not going to happen, sir.
All right, hopping into some Vikings news. So, Vikings trimmed their roster down to 53, as well as picked up some practice squad jabronis. But probably the most notable cut, the one came out earliest, Brian Robson, cut 11 years at the Vikings, 60 career sacks, former 4th-round pick out of Tejas, 2007. The original Spark God, by the way.
Yeah. What, 42-inch?
You're Olympian.
40
Shot put?
Shot put and discus.
Yeah.
Which,
Absolute stud at Texas.
40.5-inch vertical.
40.5-inch. Yeah,
is
because the
pretty-
highest
yeah.
on the team was 42. And so he beat out nearly every defensive back and wide receiver, well, everybody on the team in vertical. Just insane, man. And he kept that athleticism for a good chunk of his career. It wasn't until like last year that it really looked like it fell off. He was covering running backs and man coverage, diving to get pass deflections, like crazy.
He came in the league at 259 because he's like one of the DN linebacker tweeners.
Yep.
What do you think his walking around weight was last year?
I bet it dropped from where they wanted it a couple of years
270?
ago. No, I'm guessing it was closer to 265.
Ooh.
Maybe 260.
Now, he came in the league, he ran a 4.74.
Just
Probably ran like
Crazy
what do you think it
fast.
runs now? Also, do you think we could beat him?
4.89.
I bet he runs in the 4.9s.
4.9.
And if he runs in the 4.9s, then no, none of us could.
Well, we could relay race. He's just run 10. Got the baton.
I think we all start on each other's backs and one person jumps off.
But Tom, that would be worse because we'd have to
that
carry.
Yeah.
It would look fun, though.
But he's the last remaining member from that 2009 team, and just showing the door. Just one all-around good guys, both on and off the field, and just solid pro. And it'll be missed, but it's okay because we have David Perry.
David Perry. Yeah, locker room guy, community guy. B-Rob definitely got your money's worth out of that 4th-round pick from Texas.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And you bring up a great point, too. I forgot about when he came out, he was a tweener, because Everson is the tweener that I think of in that era.
Yeah, remember
Everson was a stud playing that 4-3 stand-up linebacker for a few snaps every game. He was the gunner. We all know that. That's fun to talk about. But B-Rob, same thing, too. They fooled around with him quite a bit for the first year or two and seriously looked at him as a stand-up linebacker. Obviously, they made the right decision at the end, but yeah, hell of a career.
Remember when everyone was talking about how the Vikings should switch to 3-4 because they got Griffin? And,
yes. Yeah, that was wild. I think that's what makes it fun and exciting every year. Never in a million years would I have thought, if you were to tell me both Newman and B-Rob were not going to be on the team, I would have said no way. So pretty crazy. Still kind of surprising to me when I think about it. I think the other big one is Affetti. Obviously, Affetti, that one bums me out. I think it bums a lot of people out.
Has it been reported how many claims were put on him? Because the Browns had,
I don't know.
Had the number one.
I didn't see it. If there was a report. I
was looking, and I saw the most we got. So I went to the NFL official communication stuff, and it doesn't tell you how many claims, which is really unfortunate. So I looked at, someone tweeted out, who the most claimed players were, and I was wondering if Affetti was on this list, and he wasn't the most claimed, or I think the second most claimed. Now it's 5 and 4 are the most claimed players, 5 claims and 4 claims. Then after that, he just went over some notable players, so it could have been 3, 2, or 1.
I give it 6. Just let Rush bearing the lead.
Okay,
actually, I bet is at least 2.
I'm guessing it's at least 2.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate that Vikings decided, because when it was announced that Brian Robinson was being cut, I thought it was like, all right, so you're going to keep Weatherly Bauer, Jalen Holmes, and Affetti, but decided to keep David Perry. I get it.
I understand the decision for
sure.
True
nose tackle, back up, and you like Jaleel to have that flexibility, play some 3-tech and nose, but it's like, all right, so it's like a full-on youth movement, but kind of.
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense that they got a true nose tackle to back up Linval, because they saw what happened 2 years ago when Linval went out, I think, against the Seahawks.
Yep.
And the defense, I think, suffered a lot. They want to maintain that third down record that they have. They're really good against third and short, really good against third and intermediate. But if you could just force people into third and long by stuffing the run and just having.
Are you laughing at the?
Sorry, this is one of our best comments outside of the Andy Weiner one. But yeah.
Outside of that, of course.
Andrew, look at Andrew Roth. Andrew Roth had a really fun.
I'm trying to talk, Tom.
Sorry, go ahead.
You pay him to talk, dude. Just like
I mean, does he though?
No.
Cy actually is going to pick this one
but yeah, they want to maintain, because shifting the 3 technique when they had Sharif Floyd play nose tackle, that was a disaster.
That was not great.
So yeah, I understand why they did that. Jaleel Johnson's supposed to be more of a natural 3 tech. I think actually long term they're just going to keep switching him around to play kind of like a swing tackle, basically. But
like
defensive.
Upgraded Stephen Weatherly, or excuse me, Shamar Stephen.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, upgraded Shamar Stephen. Yeah. It's like Stephen Weatherly.
You remember him?
Should we tell him, dude?
But it's just such a bummer because Affetti was so exciting.
So good.
Yeah, and they clearly wanted him on the practice squad.
What's his ceiling? Because the Browns already have a very solid front seven. Like, could he eventually pop as a starter there in a number of years?
Who's that Lions guy? Kerry Hyder, is that his name? The Lions defensive tackle, defensive end.
Sure.
He ended up getting a bunch of sacks one year, kind of like Jamie Mater did with the Browns, actually. A bunch of sacks one year. Kind of a surprise, but both of them ended up being super subs that do a really good job. Like Tom Johnson, that do a really good job as role players, maybe not necessarily as every down 3 techniques, but are way more valuable than your average backup at 3 technique. And that's who I think what his ceiling could be.
What a great deal Tom Johnson was for those. What was it, 3-4 years?
Nuts, right?
Dude!
They picked him up from the Saints. The Saints picked him up from like the Arena League.
Yeah. And when we grabbed him, he was 31, I want to say. So everybody kind of was already writing him off.
We thought he was just a camp body.
And then every year, and then every year he just keeps showing. I was like, he's 33 now, so he's not going to do anything. Great rotational guy. Sorry, go ahead.
Someone who used to be 33 7 years ago, Terrence Newman.
Can't believe it.
Hung it up.
I mean, I can believe it.
Joined you had to think that this was part of the conversation when he came back the offseason, signed the veteran minimum deal. It's like, hey, we got some great young bodies in here. We got Hughes. We got Holton Hill. if we need one of the spots, how about you just wear the hoodie and you be the nickel coach? Even though, or we'll just make up a title for you.
I think, yeah, you're probably right. After the draft, once they saw how good Mike Hughes was already looking and Holton Hill's potential, obviously with Sherrill's in the mix, they knew that they were going to be loaded there almost too deep, and he was going to be the odd man out.
Better.
And they wanted to get younger. He was going to definitely be the odd man out. But I think before the draft, though, I think it was still game on. He's going to be vying for that nickel spot, the number 3 spot, probably the number 4 cornerback. Hoping, obviously, Mack kind of takes hold of that nickel spot, but a lot happened after the draft, I think, and really, I wouldn't really put it against. I'm trying to think maybe rookie OTAs once they saw Hughes and Holton Hill in action for the first time. You know what I mean?
And it saved them having to have an awkward conversation with Terrence Newman, right? Because you do it ahead of time, and then it's like, then you don't have to be
plant the seeds first.
Exactly. You don't have to be like, well, Terrence, you have lost a step, and we have a guy like Mike Hughes. We have Holton Hill, who isn't where you're at right now, but he'll probably have a higher ceiling. And we really want to be able to keep him.
In 3 years when he develops, you'll be done.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say this, though, right now. Terrence Newman can still ball.
Oh, he can still play.
T knew if he wanted to go sign for the Chiefs, I'm telling you, he can still play the nickel corner now.
No, he would be their CB1.
I mean, he's got restrictions, obviously. There's certain things you want to kind of cover up in mass, but dude, he can play right now in the NFL. That's why it surprised me, and I think a lot of people.
Of course, our guy, homegrown Tom Pelissero, just crapping on everyone's like, since he's a coach now, he can't come back and play. It's like, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tim.
Can
you imagine he just rips off his suit like a breakaway and goes out there?
Right, I want to show you guys this picture from the 2003 draft. So,
oh my God!
What we're looking at is
we still have Terrell Suggs from that draft, don't we?
Yeah,
there you go. There he is.
Yeah, you got seven of the players, and the suits are all very early 2000s. But you got left to right.
They got the Tracy McGrady cut.
T-Sizzle. You got Charles Rogers.
Okay,
amazing. I think that's
Michigan State.
I think that's Booger McFarland.
Oh, hey,
maybe. Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Terrence Newman, who looks exactly the same.
Looks exactly the same.
Just no hair.
Kansas
Byron
State.
Leftwich, who's been a coach for like 4 years
Marshall.
already. And I don't know the last guy.
Let's see. I can't see it.
He actually looks old.
I actually do enjoy that Carson Palmer also looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Except Terrence Newman today, because he looks like he did 14, 15 years ago, he looks young now.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer looked old back in 2003. Yeah. That's great.
That's pretty much that. Actually,
next year it'll be the 04 class, which is Big Ben, Eli, Rivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, besides the quarterbacks.
Actually, I take that back. That wasn't Booger McFarland. That was Dwayne Robertson.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
D-tackle from Kentucky went number 4 to the Jets.
The Kentucky kid.
He was bad.
Jets have had some really bad luck in the front 7 guys in the last 15 years.
Yeah, and I think the guy in the end is
who's the Ohio State guy? Sorry, from the edge, 6 overall. Vernon Golston? No.
Yeah,
was it Golston?
Yeah, because that was the thing. It became a verb where like
Golston with the $1 million sack bonus that he never got.
No,
just 1 sack, man. One.
Tell you what,
0 tackles, 0 pressures, 0 hits, 0 sacks. That's a Golston.
You got Golston.
Yeah,
that's a Golston.
Yeah.
You got
Golston out.
You got Golston, kid.
Yeah. But what do you guys make of this? In terms of the way that B-Rob and Newman left, I think that's probably like the most good that like a guy can go out on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you cut the oldest guys like on the team.
I'll tell you what,
now you just got like become one of the youngest.
They're
very rarely
very different people, right? Sorry, cut you off. Robinson, right, is just going to disappear, where Newman could be on the staff for a while, right?
Everybody.
I don't think B-Rob's done yet.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Oakland and Buffalo.
The way Everson was talking about it sounds like it wouldn't be done, right?
Oh.
But,
no, he could, again, like Newman, he can play.
Oh,
there's
things situational pass rusher. I mean,
hustle guys. Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a league now that's really trying to mold after the Eagles and get that 9-man rotation going. I think B-Rob certainly could get picked up. I guess I just thought him as a guy that would play in purple forever, but you never know.
Oakland makes sense also.
I'm sure there's
Leslie
a lot of
Frazier
teams
still
that
in Buffalo, baby.
Does he want to go play in Buffalo?
Also,
I'd be really surprised.
He's like, wow, you guys suck.
Actually, their defense ain't bad. Their offense,
I suppose.
The other side of the ball.
They've invested a lot of young draft picks going on in there. So
is Allen good?
Who?
Josh Allen.
What?
No, he's bad. No.
He was honorable mention Mountain West Conference.
Oops.
Which is the 3rd. which is 3 early.
And people got
and that was
captivated
because
by
they
it.
paid
team,
people.
You're not second team. You're third team in the Mountain West at quarterback.
amazing.
And that's only because his dad funded a lot of money in that program.
So was it his arm? What? Like, how the hell does a guy from Wyoming?
No.
Okay.
How have you
the guy-
missed the entire draft conversation?
I don't think I had any interest in him.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's
Sure.
the whole thing. It's that he's
Yeah.
got this.
Okay, here's the
Incredible
2014
arm.
class. So this is what we'll be
I
talking
vaguely
about
remember
next
this.
year. Ready? The Eli, Robert Gallery, already out. Iowa tackle, too. Fitzgerald, still balling.
Oh, 2004.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phillip Rivers, Sean Taylor,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kellen Winslow, the Browns at 6, out of the league. Roy Williams, receiver Texas of the Lions at 7, out of the league. D'Angelo Hall, Falcons, 8. Reggie Williams, wide receiver Washington, went to the Jaguars.
Because wasn't it Reggie Williams and Mike Cocaine, Matt Cocaine Jones?
Matt Jones.
Matt Cocaine Jones.
The Twin Towers.
Yes.
Like Leftwich.
Fred Taylor was still there, I think.
Yeah, Jacksonville, as much crap as we give Duvall, like they had some fun teams back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardle.
Yep. Tony Baselli.
that trash heap.
John Henderson, and there's another tackle that had right next to John Henderson from Tennessee, who was just a monster. That a great
Who was the lefty
what was his
quarterback who was like with the Saints at the end of his career?
lefty quarterback.
I
Aaron
think-
Brooks? No, he was lefty.
No,
Bobby Hebert.
Jesus, I'm
Bobby Cocaine here,
Yeah.
and then Dunta Robinson to round out the top
Yeah.
10. Then Big Ben went 11, and then Jonathan Vilma 12. to the
Yep.
Jets.
So Vikings, other surprise cuts. So Caleb Jones, nope, deuces. Kendall Wright.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit. You guys called that. I will admit, you guys were definitely
Mark Brunell. Was
Right
So, I
about
mean,
that.
you got Alex Boone last year. We get Kendall Wright this year.
There you go. Yeah, no.
And finally, it's like
just-
the curse of the 17 right. It's gone. Even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
I would have took Jarius.
I'd bring Jarius back in a heartbeat.
Jarius is
especially
gonna-
looking at our 5.
Jarius is going to lead the Panthers in receiving, and it's going to be hilarious.
Oh my god.
It'll be like 700 yards. McCaffrey will have the rest, but it's okay.
5 running backs. I think that was a big surprise for me. I knew they loved Mike Boone. I think we all knew that. Just listening to offensive coordinators speak. But they thought Rock Thomas was too good to pass up, and I get it. I mean, if they're just keeping the best 53 guys, he's talented.
Was
Five-star
it
recruit
that one
coming out.
game, or did you guys talked more about Boone? I feel like when you looked at his
It
practices,
was the body of work with Boone. Thomas had some great
Yeah.
splash plays in games.
Have you
He had
seen-
the 2-touchdown game against first preseason game, the Broncos.
Have you seen Boone's analytics compared to Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley?
Yes.
Mike Boone.
It was nuts.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's nuts.
Mike Boone's the spark guy, but I mean, we also just have to give him credit for being like a good running back, right? Because
Absolutely.
the Vikings brought in Jarrell Presley last year. They didn't keep him. He was also kind of
He
a
was,
spark guy.
yeah.
Maybe not quite as good as Mike Boone, but definitely kind of in a similar tier. So
Absolutely.
the fact that Boone
5 running backs there. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
the fact that Boone, I think, produced, given kind of the level of production that he had in Cincinnati, that were some pretty big red flags. I think, I think that's a huge credit to him. And then Rock Thomas, we knew that the Vikings were predisposed to Rock Thomas just because they love those 5-star recruits.
Yes.
So, the 5 running backs, you can see why they did it. It's still a huge surprise.
For sure. Yeah. It's a big surprise there. And then tight ends, they only have 3, obviously. Receivers, 5. But then O-line, 9?
Hey, yeah, we're going through. Oh, starting a quarterback. So, Cousins, keeping 3, that made sense, right?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, we don't like what Simeon's done, but you need to keep. I mean,
Do we like what Kirk done?
No.
Yeah, Slaughter. Yank is a Slaughter man.
No, I'm not.
You think, hey,
that's done. That's definitely done.
He's on that
we
Simeon
come,
train.
you think we come out of the gates a little slow, a little sluggish these first 3-4 weeks?
I've definitely said that the
New offensive coordinator?
I would not be surprised if the Vikings start 1-3 or whatever. Right out of the
Well, I'm not even saying so much the record, but that's good to know as well. But I'm just saying the offense specifically struggling, looking a little muddy.
Absolutely. I mean,
new offensive coordinator, new center apparently, new quarterback obviously.
I mean,
they just haven't shown me a ton.
Yeah,
this
not a
preseason.
ton, and maybe it's just because they're hiding things and they're mostly using the preseason to work out some of those extra kinks, maybe plays that they wanted to, but most of it's vanilla. So
Is it O-line related? Do you worry about that?
Interior, yes.
A little bit. I know Keenum really created a lot of things.
I mean, you had to worry about
extended
it.
plays
I think
and
at
things like
Jacksonville,
that.
right? They probably not doing anything crazy, but it's a good team, and they seem to get after him, right?
And Kurt looks a little bit more like Bradford, where he's a little bit more stuck in the pocket.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying that
Bradford didn't have a great O-line.
Yeah.
It struggled.
And when he did, he was...
Yeah, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, the whole Brian Baldinger center report. Now, as you listen to this, may have been confirmed. Zimmer hasn't done anything about it yet, but if you had to wager, who's starting at center on Sunday for the Vikings?
I just think it's unless he's very mistaken, and I feel like he would have apologized and taken it down because somebody would have called him out. I think
he's
it's a weird
out
thing.
there.
I think it's a weird thing to just throw out if you don't know for sure.
He's also
that
like
happening.
not a reporter; he's an analyst,
Yeah,
right?
right, but he knows people.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been in similar situations, right? I'm an analyst, not a reporter.
Where's
I have
Adrian being
occasionally
traded to?
reported things. Yeah, Adrian Peterson, not traded, right?
I mean, you were right eventually.
He did go to Arizona.
But also, I mean, we saw Brett Jones play. Like, if it had already been decided,
Jones.
you gotta stop making the same. You just made the Matt Jones joke, man.
Let him have it.
No,
No, that's the Mike Jones, the rapper. Jones.
Yeah, I get it.
Not the Matt Cocaine Jones.
Yeah, but you did the same.
It's okay, Luke. I accept you for who you are.
I do not. Absolutely. I don't like anybody in this room. That includes me, so you're all in great
I'm just
company.
saying, Teddy Bridgewater played behind the face of the franchise, Vlad Dukas, and TJ Clemmings.
What is that? Where did that joke come from?
It's
We're
not
talking
a joke.
about the center.
It's not a joke. I'm just saying, when we're talking,
What?
we were talking about
Let
how
her finish. He's getting steamy.
This is so ridiculous.
he's very steamy. We need to get him.
Dude, we pay him to talk, and we don't let him talk.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, man. Go ahead, Nari.
I hate all of you. Okay, so
What did I do in that segment?
so Brian Baldinger reports/assumes that Danny Isidore is going to play center. If that was the case, they wouldn't have put Brent Jones at center this week in both walkthroughs and practice. They had that happen today, and Thomason has reported that he has confirmed that Brett Jones is expected to be the center. Not that he will be, but that he's expected to be the center on Sunday. So I think Baldy just made an assumption and then is like defending the assumption kind of vigorously on Twitter, even though, I think he just made an assumption. I don't think he was reporting it. He's not a reporter. Of course he knows people, and of course he's been in like production meetings, but I don't think that ends up being the same. And I think a reporter, when they're talking to people, there's a lot more care in terms of the words that they hear and the sentence structure of what they hear, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Baldy's in a production meeting, they're talking about Danny Isidore at center, and they're saying, hey, if Isidore's at center, he can do this, this, and this. Or the great thing about having Isidore at center is that you can do this and this and this. And one can hear that sentence and just kind of assume, as an example, that he will be the center, right? And so that's why I think it's weird that he put that out there, but I think it makes sense that that's something that hasn't been confirmed or decided yet internally within the Vikings. And right now, it seems like Brett Jones is going to be the center.
I think in the game of telephone, like maybe Barone or Janako said like,
You feel better now?
No.
Like, hey, Danny, you look pretty good. Be ready just in case. And then Isidore relayed that to his agent, and then maybe his agent probably knows Ballinger back in the day, that got passed around. I feel like this is a game of telephone. Or I wouldn't put it past Zimmer just be like, screw that guy.
Just float somebody.
Screw
out
that guy,
there.
Brett Jones.
True.
But I was concerned because you're throwing out Danny Isidore out there week one, brand new position. You got DeForest Buckner coming in. Also, why? Because that is a clear path for keeping Tom Compton on the field as well. Even though Brett Jones starting also is... either way, Compton's starting.
Yeah, there's problems in either scenario, right? Because Brett Jones, you don't know if he knows the offense or the protections. Isidore, he has played a total in his career of 31 snaps at center, and they were all last week.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of uncertainty, I think, either way. Personally, I would be more comfortable with Jones. While you continue to work Danny Isidore, you work him out at center much more often. But I mean, bad snaps can ruin games. Bad snaps can be just turnovers. I think what the turnover rate on a bad snap has to be 50 times the turnover rate in any other play, right?
Except for the stupid Seahawks that one year where they just had all the turnover luck in the world.
Yeah.
Or fumble luck, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure the Vikings can rely on that.
Also,
they get lucky a lot, right?
There's I don't know, look at the captains throughout the past couple of years at quarterback. the thing that concerned me too is like there's a play in the Tennessee game where there was a false start and like Isidore just didn't snap it. Where it's like maybe he thought it was on 2, but it was actually on 1. It's just like, like little things like that add up. Also, like if Isidore's at center, who's going to call line protection? Like, is it be Cousins? Would it be Jones?
Could be. It could be Cousins. In fact, I would rather whoever the center is that Cousins calls out the protections, which would suck because it's just like another thing to add to his plate. But it's not super unusual for quarterbacks to do that either.
Yeah, and it's like, Kirk, you have more things to do. It's like, besides telling us who Michael is. Which one is the Michael? I don't know.
Which one is Michael?
Yeah.
Who's the Samuel? Who's the William?
I will say someone that would surprise me to being cut and then tossed on the practice squad was Cornelius Edison.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised he wasn't picked up off of waivers.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he was cut, just because obviously he looked decent at center. I suspect that he had some trouble with protections based off of some of the sacks that we saw given up in the preseason. But I don't. The Vikings are thin at the position. Like I understand they traded for a guy, so that makes it easier. But yeah, I'm kind of uncomfortable with it, especially because you expect Pat Elflein to be basically. I mean, he's taking up a roster spot, but to be basically not available for you for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
It should be easy once he's healthy to cut him in anticipation of like Brothers coming off of Kentrell Brothers coming off of suspension. So there's your already made roster move.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was a little surprised by that, but that they really wanted to keep Rock Thomas
and Tom Compton.
How much do you think keeping 4 running backs is DiFilippo channeling what they did in Philly last year?
I thought about it, right? Because they had 4 running backs there at the end of the season with Jay Ajayi, Corey Clement, Darren Sproles, and Donnell Pumphrey.
Yep.
Darren Sproles, too.
R.I.P. Pumphrey.
But
He's in the
yeah.
practice squad.
Is he?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He's like 160 pounds. I'm surprised he's still alive. Yeah, I thought about it. I don't think that's the case.
Yep.
I think part of it's also if you don't have depth at tight end, you might as well have depth at another skill position. And running back is, one of the positions you could do that. It also lets you keep 5 receivers instead of 6. Like, do they like Rock Thomas more or Chad Beebe? And I think the answer is Rock Thomas. Right? So
R.I.P. Chad Beebe.
I think it's just part of the conversation about the total number of skill players on the roster.
See, I thought since Cordero was the Patriots' wide receiver 2, currently it's like, all right, Chad Beebe's going to be a Patriot, except they claimed another white Chad.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? Hansen, yeah.
He's a good-looking dude.
He is.
Yeah. Something that's good-looking as well is on Thursday Night Football, we make its long-anticipated return to your television sets, if that's what you call the Eagles and the Falcons. I don't, but whatever. But that means that bragging rights and huge cash prizes are up for grabs at DraftKings.com, leader in one-week fantasy sports. For the season over, DraftKings hosting a fantasy football contest that is $10 to enter and has a $1 million top prize. That seems like a lot. That's almost what Le'Veon Bell has given up if he sits out week 1. Whatever. For a limited time only, sign up with the code COVERAGE, COVERAGE. I'm good at reading. DraftKings will give you a free entry with your first deposit. Single Game Showdown is the newest way to play as well. All you have to do is draft 6 players from Thursday's game, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. That means you could win $1 million while watching season opener, help you get through that stupid game, see Matt Ryan's face, and also Nick Foles for some reason. Be good. Don't worry. There are $2.5 million in the total prize, which means thousands of winners as well. Download the app or go to DraftKings.com now and use promo code COVERAGE to sign up when you make your first deposit. When you do, DraftKings will give you 1 free shot at that $1 million on Thursday. So again, coverage at DraftKings.com. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restriction apply. See DraftKings.com for details. So really sad about Chad Beebe, but practice squad, whatever.
Sucks.
Yeah. So Devontae Downs. Between he and Cleat, I was like, I could see either one, but Downs, draft pick,
right,
showed a little bit. Yeah. Also, it's funny going into the last preseason game. You play in the game, it's like, well, is this guy not playing because they're saving him for the season, or or he's bad, or they're just trying to not show any tape on him?
All of those things.
All of those things. Yeah. Practice squad, Jeff Badette, Rashard Cleat, the aforementioned, wide receiver Chad Beebe, Storm Norton, everyone's favorite.
That one surprised me.
I think he only made it on name value.
Yep, that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, he was not playing very well in camp at all. In fact, the other tackle, Jugo Joseph, I thought was playing a little bit better in camp, but Norton has a lot more upside. He moves a lot better than Joseph. And then by the time the fourth preseason game came around, he was playing a lot better.
There's definitely something
than
there.
The other third-string tackles, yeah.
6'8", 305, whatever. I mean, he's a big dude who can move.
All those third-string tackles were, like, enormous, right?
Yeah.
Like Cedric Lang, huge.
Big boy.
Diego Joseph.
Big boy.
But yeah, I think Norton showed the most improvement, but all of them really struggled a lot, and I thought Norton was actually maybe the worst tackle in camp at the beginning.
No, I completely agree with you.
He's getting by on name recognition like Revis at the end.
How did you think Colby Gossett played the last 2-3 games in the preseason?
Not great.
Again, keeping another guy. You obviously use a 5th, 6th round pick. Not a huge deal, but you got to have, I think, one young interior offensive lineman to go with Storr Norton on the outside on your practice squad. Try to develop.
I mean, also it's like, who else are you gonna keep? Like, Kareem Air, Jacob Judd, come on down.
Yeah. They did sign Jalen Myrick today. Gophers.
Yeah,
let's go.
R.I.P. Tocha.
No. IR though, right? Injured. Practice squad injured.
I can honestly say my mom was the first on that. She texted me last night, and she was just like,
We got the scoop.
I'm like, did you hear that they signed Jalen Marks? I'm like,
amazing.
no, I don't see that anywhere.
Why didn't you run with it?
She's the Schefter. Does she have a Twitter? Does she have Twitter?
No, she doesn't.
Oh,
I don't think you guys are ready for my mom's appearance.
it would be amazing.
Reef would get in so much trouble.
Because I insult you all the time?
Nope. She'd be happy about that. Just swearing, mostly.
Vikings also claim tight end Cole Hikutini, formerly of the 49ers. Now, is this just, hey, let's get some week 1 intel and then we'll punch you, or does it actually say something about Tyler Conklin?
Both?
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Conklin's not that great.
You know what I loved? I love the. I haven't seen last night's episode of Hard Knocks, the last one, but you've guys seen the one where Kendricks gives the breakdown of his former team, the Eagles.
That was really good.
I loved that. That was outstanding.
Yeah.
So to actually see that
really
go
good.
down and get the inside view, the dialogue, his actual breakdown was just outstanding. I thought.
His breakdown was really specific, detailed,
specific.
painted a really good picture.
Yeah, outstanding. It kind of put me, kind of woke me up a little bit in the fact
Now he's
that
going to prison.
See, what happens is if you have the defensive line rotation, that way Chris Long stays fresh. So it's like starting with $80,000, you end up with like $1 million,
right,
or something to that effect. What are you trying to say, Michael, buddy boy?
It makes me realize, it wakes me up a little bit just to actually see that go down. That teams do that. Teams will grab a guy just to get a little bit of intel. So I think Cole will certainly be asked, picked, and prodded a little bit to give a little bit of synopsis on, hey, what's going on over there?
I think you could probably see if that happens.
How fast does he get released after the game?
Well, they can't do it right away to make it obvious, but like week 3, just like hit the button.
Yeah.
Bring him in, the Burns button. Just
Stand
right here, Cole.
See, the Packers took it to a different level with Gerald Presley. It's like they actually rostered him.
Right.
It's like, ooh.
Well, we're probably going to
cash.
need you for the next game.
That was a little overboard.
But just wrapping up, guys who didn't make it, who could have had a shot. Trevon Mathis, I thought he played pretty decent.
Yeah, he was decent. I agree with you. He was pretty decent.
Weineke, I get it.
Weineke,
I'm just surprised. I'm actually surprised Weineke didn't get practice squad.
Me too, a little bit. But they're all just clumped together, though. All those receivers, nobody really. I mean, we loved how BB ended that Seattle game, but I think nobody really ran away with that 5th spot for all that everybody was clumped in there. But I'm agreeing. I think he would have been good on.
I never felt like he was a guy who could get that 5th or 6th roster spot, but I at least felt like he was fighting.
There was some potential there for sure
for practice squad.
He might get a call.
Well, I think with Badette, too, is like you got a guy who's got speed, showed just enough to make it interesting. And also, like, once Hughes starts, like, really establish himself, you don't want him on every kick return and every punt return. So it's like maybe Badette could be that guy in a year or two.
I think
Badette is behind it. Yeah,
I think Badette is the backup in case Coley can never be healthy again. That's kind of the similar style where they're going to use him and try to be the special teams guy that again, Coley. Because Coley's just missed so much time now to this point. They're thinking about a plan B just in case something happens.
I
agree with you that Hughes.
I don't know that Coley is so interesting that they want to back up specifically to him, at least as a receiver. And I think Zylstra and Beebe do a better job as receivers than Badette. I think, honestly, that this is kind of a special teams move with room for upside into him developing as a receiver. I think as a receiver, Winicky was better, but I think you had a couple of tiers at receiver, right? Like excluding like King and Wright, you had Coley and Zylstra at one tier, and I thought they did a lot better than everyone below them. And then I thought you had just kind of Winicky by himself. He wasn't doing great, but you had Winicky by himself.
Yeah, I would say that.
And then below that, that's where I'd put. Between Winicky and you'd have BB.
Yeah.
So Zylstra, Coley, then BB, and then below that, I think by a somewhat substantial margin, then you'd have Winicky, and then below that, you'd have like Badette, and then like Corey Robertson, and so on. I don't think Badette was doing all that well in camp. Corey Robertson was probably the bottom of the bottom, right?
Oh, man, that hurts.
I know.
Yeah. But, I am a little surprised that it was Badette, but I can kind of see it because he's got more upside than Winicky, despite being a smaller receiver, just because he's got that speed. And you can use him as a returner in case, like you said, that Mike Hughes becomes too valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Coley is also a returner, but, do you really want to expose him to all those hits?
Right.
Yeah, not great. Before we get into Niners preview and Tom, get the music for that. Captain's named this week, so Captain Kirk. Whatever. All right, so Cousins get to see, as well as first-timers Anthony Barr, Linval Joseph, and then return captains Everson Griffin, 4th straight year. Riley Reif, 2nd straight year. Same thing with Kyle Rudolph. Now, I've been looking. They didn't name captains in 2014, did they? Zimmer's first year.
I think they name captains every year.
Yeah, except on the Google machine, nothing came up for 2014.
Is there a limit to the number of captains you can have in a year?
Why would there be? I don't think this is something it doesn't affect salaries or anything like that. So I don't think this is something the NFL enforces.
Unless some team just put the C on everyone, then the NFL would be like,
that's what I was.
But that would be funny though.
It would be hilarious. Jeff Fisher's trash, but when he sent out the captains that were the draft picks from the Washington trade,
that
RG3,
was great.
Yeah, that was good.
His single greatest moment.
Yeah, it's
aside from being in the Super Bowl as a head coach.
That is so weird. So he's Kevin Dyson. If he was 6'4" or had longer arms, that game goes to overtime. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
But purely ceremonial. Anyone get snubbed? You guys like the picks?
I saw them and it immediately left my head. I kind of don't care.
What picks? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Captain.
I mean,
the 6 captains. Everson's one of them. Captain
Everson's
Kirk's
the most
one of them.
consistent. I mean, Everson's been a captain pretty much every year, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's the heartbeat of the team.
Yep. Just going back through history, 2015, Zimmer's second season, Adrian Teddy Everson Greenway.
Adrian Teddy Everson Greenway.
Remember last year when that was the captain Zimmer chose were that was kind of a story for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Where Zimmer just picked them instead of the team deciding on it, and he made it. I think he was a little weird about it.
Oh yeah, he was "Oh, my decision."
My decision.
Or,
yeah.
That became not as big as a meme as tweet
weird about it.
He was weird about it though.
Yeah.
Zimmer. Whenever there's a decision to be made, even if it's trivial, he definitely milks it for all it's worth. Definitely plays it close to the chest.
Well, it's not that he milks it; it's just that he reacts to it in a really inorganic way, which makes the media want to figure out, okay, what's the underlying thing behind why he's reacting this way? Because the Teddy injury back in 2016 in the preseason or whatever, when he had that shoulder stuff, and he could have just either said he's having a little shoulder injury or whatever, but he had to say my decision when it was brought up. So I just think the way that Zimmer reacts to things sometimes is what makes stories bigger than they actually are.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
It's just because he doesn't.
Tibbs kind of does that too. It's
because he doesn't want the attention, but the way he reacts is courting that attention.
True.
Yeah, that absolutely happens.
Maybe he kind of likes it though.
No,
I loved his McDonald's story. He shorted a burger.
Yeah. He was it's been a bad week. This happened. This happened. They left me out a burger at McDonald's.
Yeah. No, that was
McDonald's
great.
was we'll give you a burger.
Yeah. I remember that. 300 double cheeseburgers later, yeah.
But
It's awesome.
Under the radar, and knock on wood, hopefully this continues, hasn't been a storyline at all.
His eye. Yeah.
Seems like that's good to go.
That was pretty bad for a while there, guys. Remember that?
Yeah.
How intense and serious that was?
It's kind of like, dude, take care of it.
I thought he legitimately was going to push him to retire.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
Which would be like,
as
come
Vikings
on.
fans, we have to think worst case
You have to
scenario
at least
all times.
go all the way there, but it was getting bad where I'm like, Zimmer, just leave football for if
I
it
know,
is like the
take
rest
care
of
of it, man.
rest
It's your
of the
eye.
season.
For like a day.
No, like what would have been great is like say Zimmer would have lost the eye or the eye patch. He would have dropped the line like from 300. It's like, well, I lost the eye, but at least the good Lord gave me a spare. They kept grinding tape, just chewing dip and well done steaks and Bud Light. That's the Zimmer life, Northern Kentucky. All right, so let's hop into some Vikings 49ers action. Vikings opened up as 5-point favorites. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think of football. This is a song I think of. Vikings open up as 5-point favorites at noon kickoff, historic U.S. Bank Stadium against the sloppy San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, in his second season. Jimmy G and Marquise Goodwin and not Reuben Foster coming in. Good times.
No Rube, huh?
Oh, by the way, so Reuben Foster suspended.
Love it. 4 games? 2 games.
Love it.
2 games.
Love it.
Malcolm Smith, Super Bowl MVP Malcolm Smith,
Wow.
is hurt. So you know who might start at weak side linebacker? Elijah Lee.
Ooh! Steve's going to go nuts.
Don't call it a comeback. Hey, Elijah's like, hey, I finally get to play in this place.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's crazy.
But any matchups stick out to you guys? Anything got you sweating?
So, like in terms of things I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Breida versus the linebackers, just in general.
yeah.
That dude's as fast as
Linebackers.
Jerick.
I'm excited for Daniil Hunter versus Mike McGinchey. Come on.
That's going to be a fun little matchup
Yeah.
there. Dante Pettis is one of the more underrated rookie receivers to come out. Much more polished than I think people, maybe some Surface fans kind of realize. So they might end up maybe being shocked and surprised that Dante Pettis works Mac Alexander in the slot a few times on Sunday.
All right, so Rhodes is dinged up. Already has that soft tissue injury, but he's going to be good to go for game time. Is he going to shadow Marquise Goodwin, or is this a game where they just play sides?
Normally he'd shadow the best receiver, but like Trey Waynes is such a decent matchup for Marquise Goodwin in terms of what their relative skill sets are that it might actually just make sense for Trey Waynes to shadow Marquise Goodwin because Goodwin's such a he's improved so substantially as a receiver. I kind of feel bad saying this, but he's such a mediocre receiver one. He's a great receiver too.
That's why absolutely.
But yeah, so I don't know that they'll play sides necessarily, but I think they'll just have Waynes on Goodwin and then Rhodes just shutting down whoever else is available, and the Vikings will just have to be alerted to
Pettis, man.
their tight
Put him on
ends.
Pettis.
Well, I mean, Hughes will be on Pettis, right? You have him in the slot a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead. I mean, the talent's there. 2 out of the 3 are on pace to be really good.
Well, what about Defoe? DeForest Buckner's a monster.
Buckner.
Well, okay.
Solomon Thomas, Buckner, Eric Armstead. I mean,
Armstead's the third one.
That's that. Dude, those 3 right there,
really
I mean,
good.
against our offensive line that has a lot of question marks, and starting Isidore at center?
Yeah,
oh, boy.
The only thing is, you've got, so they're playing in a 4-3. One of those guys has to play end. They're all defensive tackles.
They're all interior guys.
And so
Stunts.
Solomon Thomas is going to be playing end.
But
Eric Armstead does play end.
Right.
But
our interior is just...
Well, yeah, but only 2 of them will be going up against. So at some point, you're going to have like Riley Reef up against one of them against the edge, and all he has to do is really anchor.
Which is good. I'm worried
all
about more.
3 of them are big worries, but only
Right.
2 of them, I think, are generally speaking going to be a worry at the time.
Agreed. I think
there's that.
The interior pressure, though, there's nothing worse for a quarterback. We talked about Cousins not looking comfortable.
No.
He's not going to create plays like Keenum. Isidore starting at center. This could be a recipe for disaster early on if they don't. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going with my gut here. Baldy, I trust you, all right? I don't trust Baldy at all. So we'll see. We'll see. Jimmy Ward was always a guy that. We didn't talk about Exum yet either. They signed their own intel with a little
which is hilarious.
Exum action.
He's like, man, I don't remember.
Dude, man, I don't know. That's why you brought me here?
Hey,
Where's my
Kyle
check?
Shanahan's like, all right, Anton, what can you tell us about the Vikings? Well, Treadwell is soft. That's about it. I like that the ghost of Richard Sherman is out there.
I know. Akella Weatherspoon, I mean, I don't know. Thielen, Diggs. I'm trying to think who's maybe. I'm trying to just get in the head of that. Well, who do you think Sherman obviously stays on one side?
Right.
What?
So you've got no. It's going to be Akella Weatherspoon, and then actually their nickel corner Quan Williams has been apparently having a tremendous offseason.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting to see kind of what he has the ability to do. They've been playing around with Jimmy Ward at corner and safety.
Yep,
Same thing with Anton Exum.
And nickel corner specifically too.
This seems like a team that could use an Eric Reed.
It's weird. I wonder if he's available. I wonder what he would look like in a 49ers uniform. But yeah, they've got DJ Reed, Anton Exum, and Jimmy Ward, who all have the capability to play both cornerback and safety. And so they've got interesting depth there because I think they've only got 3 safeties listed on their depth chart or something like that.
Yeah, I see. Well, again, Exum, Jimmy Ward, depending on where you want to move him. DJ Reed, rookie. Greg Maben. No, I'm sorry, he's a corner.
I wouldn't worry
Jaquiski
too much about
Tartt.
it. Yeah, so Jaquiski Tartt's going to start, and
Adrian
then
Colbert.
So they've got an interesting system. They're running,
you're right,
basically,
not much.
yeah. But they've got 3 corners that can basically play safety. They're running a system that's supposed to be a lot like the Jacksonville system. You'll notice a lot of Jacksonville and Seattle players on that team, including Richard Sherman.
I'm gonna poll you guys here real quick. Joe Staley, Lincoln Tomlinson, Weston Richburg, Mike Person, and Mike McGlinchey with Josh Garnett as their 6th. Who's got the better offensive line?
It sounds like Garnett's going to start.
Okay, so
Person
Garnett, I like that. Who's got the better offensive line, Vikes or Niners?
I think the Niners do.
I think so too.
They've got huge problems at guard. What's
going on with Garnett?
Unless Garnett,
28th pick, 30th
apparently,
pick, first-round
Person
guy.
was going to start, and Garnett beat him out. They had another person playing in the competition. So at some point, you got to say, well, he may have just improved substantially because he was able to beat out these people who were in the competition. That's a pretty good sign. Lincoln Tomlinson, not great either.
Not great. Did flash, though, his rookie year for the Lions, and then he kind of faded out.
Yeah.
And then Weston Richburg wasn't horrible either. I want to say a second-round center.
Weston Richburg's been great.
Yeah, okay, so...
He was tremendous 2 years ago, and he was really good last year.
So let's throw this out on paper. Joe Staley, first-rounder, correct? Joe Staley was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
I think so.
Staley, first-rounder. Lankin, a second-rounder. Richburg, a second-rounder. Garnett, a first-rounder. McGlinchey, a top-10 pick.
Yeah.
That's 3 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders on their offensive line.
Yeah, but only 3 good offensive linemen.
Correct. Okay, yeah. But pretty crazy. They've invested. I mean, they have a lot invested in that offensive line. I know they didn't draft all those guys themselves, but I'm saying on paper, I think I like the Niners' offensive line.
Yeah, no,
Vikes.
I think it's better.
Really
They've
do.
got 2 significant weaknesses, but I think the Vikings don't have anyone as good as Joe Staley.
Correct.
Anywhere.
Riley Reeves close.
I wouldn't say
You
he's
think Staley's
close.
that much better?
Yeah, I think he's that much better. Still that much better.
I think the big thing
and
again
I think Weston Richburg is better
is
than
at
Pat
center.
Elflein.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At least week 1 without Elflein.
Although Brett
whoever
Jones,
it is.
Although Brett Jones did do okay in Westberg's role last year.
Well,
Right.
that's it. Richburg.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. He did do pretty well in that role.
The Raiders, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Who's the best quarterback in this game?
For one game right now,
Yeah, and I'll take
Cousins. For building a team and franchise for the future,
I think
obviously.
that the Garoppolo steam may be a little bit too hot. Yeah, the way that
Way
it
too
went
hot.
down last year,
Way too
I think
hot.
he's got some regression in him.
What I love about Zimmer, he says, it doesn't matter that we went 13-3. We're starting all over, brick by brick. Here we go. Jimmy G's, a lot of supporters are banking off of the momentum going into this year, and I just don't see that happening. I mean, there's just too much hype right now for this to live up to the. I don't know. 6 in a row
For Mike Yo.
6 in a row for Mike Yo.
Give me a final score prediction. And
How
also,
many games did Jimmy G win at the end? 6?
Yeah, 6 in a row, right?
6, yeah.
Wow, that is pretty
He struggled, I think, against Jacksonville, but otherwise he did a really good job.
Prediction time? Oh, I think the offense sputters a little bit. I'm going to say
Vikings by 5.
20-13 Vikes.
Fair enough. I'll take Vikings by 5.
Low scoring kind of defensive game.
Yika.
23-17 Vikings.
Tom.
24-17 Vikes.
We go 17-9
Like
First
it.
touchdown, Dalvin Cook.
Like it.
Second touchdown, Laquan Treadwell.
Wow.
Bring it.
Did you just come back from the future?
Just get it out of the way. Just get it done. Just it's like
Love it.
Jay's advice to Steve Carell and 40-Year-Old Virgin. Just knock out a bunch of them. Just like get it out of the way. That's what's going to be like Treadwell in the touchdown.
Such a good movie.
He may end up with 3. That's it. Yeah. Did you know that the Indian guy was in jail for attempted murder?
No, but I could totally see that.
40-year-old
He
virgin
just
we're
got
talking?
out. Yeah.
I could totally see that after that movie.
He just got out. It's good. All right, so we all have the Vikings winning. We're very impartial in that manner. But we got a
They
bunch
are
of...
also the Vegas favorites. Like,
So first loss for Jimmy G, right?
Okay.
If he
Yeah, screw that guy.
What?
Check out hour 2. We got a ton of Twitter questions as well as open up the phone lines as well. And shows available on iTunes, Stitcher, iRadio, Spotify, everywhere. Yeah, zonecoverage.com/machine. But for Luke and Arif and Tom Schreier, and also Yinka, the best DB in his family.
Yeah, man.
I'm Andy saying, sorry, bye. Let's hour 2.